person who may be more polarizing and galvanizing to voters than Joe Biden is Donald Trump.
Oh, no. Versus audio.
Through. He's got a lot of rough road ahead of him. Things will change. Biden functions differently than Trump inside the electorate in this important way. Biden, until the end of July, was pretty popular. He was very popular with Democrats and quite popular with independents. Since the end of July, it has gotten weaker and weaker and weaker, that now you see among key groups here, you're looking at 10, 11, 12-point slides just since August.
There's an important race happening not far from where you are right now, which is the Virginia governor's race. And there is an attempt by Democrats and by Terry McAuliffe, who's running for governor, to make this a referendum about Trump, because that worked in California with Larry Elder. Take a listen to Terry McAuliffe on CNN talking not about his opponent, but about Donald Trump.
Terry McAuliffe wants to make this about a man who's not on the ballot in Virginia.
Donald Trump, Donald Trump, 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 Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Trump, Donald Trump.
I'm glad I have 2 cups here so I can keep drinking when you mention Donald Trump's name.
Trump, Trump, Donald Trump, 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 Donald Trump, Trump, Donald Trump.
Yes, that says it all.
It's a good spot, and it's a good policy for McAuliffe, but it's a good spot for Youngkin, who wants to appeal to suburbanites in Northern Virginia, to say that he's in an odd way. It helps him differentiate himself from Trump, to say that's not what I want to talk about. That's what McAuliffe wants to talk about. Fox News poll out last week said this, that Biden is even money in Virginia, 49-49 split, that he is not an asset, but he's not a liability. Trump, I think, was 16 or 17 points underwater. It's a good motivator for McAuliffe. It can help him get these concerned, affluent suburbanites in Northern Virginia to come out and vote in an off-year election, but it could backfire with some of those same folks and help Youngkin.
Larger sense in national politics, and President Biden's obviously looking for a life ring wherever he can get it. Does former President Trump going out there and talking not about policy, but about the 2020 election give Joe Biden that life ring and remind people, or allow the president to remind people why they didn't like Donald Trump?
Yeah, I mean, Trump, the more Trump, the better for Biden. Trump is a way that Biden can keep Democrats together, to say that the bad orange man will come back if you don't all support me, and so you all better get in line. That's helpful. But the real liability for Republicans is long-term with Trump, in the sense that he makes these crazy demands on them that they have to say, you know, the election is stolen and all of these things. Most persuadable voters aren't paying attention to this kind of stuff as they go along. This is for the junkies and for the political base. The problem comes next year when you get to midterms, you get to primaries in the midterms. If there are too many Republicans who have had too many wackadoodle things to say, that will blow up on them in swing states and in swing districts.
Interesting you bring us to wackadoodle things today. Steve Scalise did gymnastics. He's not someone who's really prone to doing gymnastics on Fox News Sunday, trying to explain whether or not he believed that Joe Biden was rightfully elected, or if the election was stolen. And then Terry McAuliffe had to do the same gymnastics about George Bush. Take a listen. Now, it appears though we don't have either of those sound bites. But Chris Wallace put Steve Scalise sort of into the, I'm going to say, like this sort of prison of having to try and figure out a way to say this election was stolen, but there were irregularities, but I still believe in elections. To your point, Republicans are just going to have to deal with that day in and day out.
Scalise and Kevin McCarthy, both of them voted to try to help Donald Trump steal the 2020 election. This will be a problem, and I know why they probably did it. They did it to suck up to Trump. They did it to suck up to voters. I will do them the favor of saying that they were probably insincere in their efforts, but this is indicative of the problem that Republicans will have going forward. If they have to say this stuff to Trump to appease him and to appease his angry base of voters who want to hear this stuff, they will eventually obliterate themselves as a party. A political party is not a suicide pact.
You know, Al Gore does not, though, have this loyal following and this huge group of folks behind him who listen to him, yet somehow Terry McAuliffe felt the need to play along. Take a listen.
First of all, the 2000 election went to the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court shut down the voting, overruled the Florida Supreme Court, and stop the counting of votes. That is quite a difference from what you had in the Trump election, where 33, 34 cases, whatever it was brought up. Republican judges dismissed.
And I don't mean.
On 2000, I wish the United States Supreme Court had let them finish counting the votes.
Why can't you just say Bush won?
Well, he's trying, of course, he's a political fundraiser by nature. Weasel wording is his native language. But I would say this, for those Democrats in 2000, 2004, who voted not to certify the election results, those who voted in 2016 not to certify the election results, did it because they knew it wouldn't matter and they could just throw a little temper tantrum and didn't think that it counted. It counts. Don't do gross stuff just because you can. It backs up on all of us later. Do your job. Be responsible, even when you don't have to. Please do a better job, Congress.
They don't call Terry McAuliffe the Mac for nothing. Chris, thank you. We'll
That's
see you
right.
soon. And we'll
You
be
bet.
right back.